Although the idea of virtual reality is not new, the term itself was introduced into the world somewhat 30 years ago. Sometimes the appearance of the term is credited to a 1982 science fiction novel, The Judas Mandala, by an Australian author, Damien Broderick. During the last decades, with the emergence of new technologies and development of the internet, the creation of the three-dimensional virtual worlds has emerged, allowing humans to receive information in a more convenient way. Virtual reality can provide absolutely new experiences. It can allow users to travel to the places they've never been to, socialize with a greater amount of other people, and to engage in activities they cannot afford in real life. Even though the idea of the virtual reality has a touch of science fiction, it is nevertheless advanced enough to raise questions on ethical and moral issues. These include concerns about unintended harms, which might range from damage of human freedom and dignity as a result of overdependence on machines, to the danger of a huge catastrophe by technological failure. At the beginning, I would like to clarify the terminology used in reference to artificial life. Artificial life can be wet or dry. Wet artificial life means creating new forms of life from the same biochemical materials and reactions that constitute naturally evolved living organisms. Dry artificial life is about engineering new forms of life materials and processes not known to constitute living organisms. This refers to the attempts to produce new forms of life using the computational capacities and silicon-based circuitry of the most advanced electronics. Virtual realities are computer-generated environments. There are distinguished machine-centered and anthropomorphic virtual realities. I would like to clarify what machine-centered virtual realities are, just to give an idea of how much virtual realities are involved in our daily lives. Machine-centered virtual realities are computational environments that are designed to make things easy for computers. For instance, the Internet Protocol address space is a machine-centered virtual reality which is structured to make it easy for computers to pass messages across Internet. Another example would be the virtual address space of a process in computing. In machine-centered virtual reality, millions of programs running on network computers take ethically significant decisions without human oversight every millisecond of the day. Computers, for example, govern almost every credit card transaction on the planet, deciding whether to accept or decline charges without direct human supervision. Anthropomorphic virtual realities are designed to make it easy and engaging for humans to interact with machines and other humans by replicating the kinds of experiences humans have of their physical and social environments. And of course, they all vary in the degree to which the full range of human experience is replicated. Anthropomorphic virtual reality has been designed for many purposes, including games, education, pilot, soldier training, and it is still under investigation for use in many more other applications, which make different demands on the amount of realism involved. Virtual reality-based games may, for instance, enable users to pretend that they have magical powers that can overcome the limitations of the physical world. Although it is hard to tell how acting out such fantasies can be damaging, unethical, or immoral, but those activities are so rewarding that they can easily lead to addictive behavior. Another ethical concern would be that social networking in virtual reality environments allows users to simulate acts of inappropriate behavior that would be unethical or socially unacceptable outside the virtual reality context. Also, real opportunities for fraud and theft are made possible within virtual worlds. Further ethical concerns are introduced in the areas where the presence of bots has been common, which are virtual artificial agents introduced in contexts where people are seeking social interaction. A frequent concern is that people are easily tricked into forming social attachments to entities that are incapable of reciprocating them. This worry arose in the early days of artificial intelligence research in connection with ELIZA, a program that simulated the question-asking technique of person-centered psychotherapy. The fact that people tend to overestimate the intelligence and complexity of computer programs is now known as the ELIZA effect. It is a manifestation of the human tendency to anthropomorphize things, which may be intensified by the much richer graphics-based virtual environments that have become common since ELIZA's inception. Furthermore, in mixed virtual environments where some avatars are human-operated and others operated by autonomous software, it may be especially difficult to distinguish which are which. So now back to virtual world. Second Life is a virtual world, a computer game, a talker. As a matter of fact, its status is frequently debated. It is often referred to by some resemblance to the SimCity and Sims, where players build and design a city and control characters in day-to-day activities. Although there are no monsters to kill and no real objectives, the grow-your-own quality of these games resonated with players. Second Life is also compared to World of Warcraft, but the real difference between World of Warcraft, The Sims, or any other game Second Life is compared to is this. Second Life does not create the content. The users, called residents, build everything. Second Life is an online virtual world developed by Linden Lab based in San Francisco, and it launched on June 23, 2003. By 2013, Second Life had approximately 1 million regular users, according to Linden Lab. Second Life is a multi-user virtual world that is centered around interaction between multiple users. As it does not have any stipulated goals, it is irrelevant to talk about winning or losing in the context of Second Life. It contains an extensive world that can be explored and interacted with, and it can be used purely as a creative toolset if the user so chooses. In March 2006, while speaking at Google Tech Talks, Philip Rosedale, the creator of Second Life, said, "So, we don't see this as a game. We see this as a platform." Linden Lab is emphatic that their creation is not a game. There is no manufactured conflict, no set objective, says spokesperson Catherine Smith. In 1999, Philip Rosedale formed Linden Lab with the intention of developing computer hardware to allow people to become immersed in a virtual world. Although at the beginning the company struggled to produce a commercial version of their hardware, eventually their efforts succeeded. Rosedale is often asked about the resemblance Second Life bears with the metaverse of Neal Stephenson's novel Snow Crash, which was published in 1992, but he says that his vision of virtual worlds predates the book and that he conducted all virtual world experiments during his college years at the University of California, San Diego, where he studied physics. Not once authors and writers referred to the concept that features advanced technology and science, the virtual reality in particular. That genre is generally referred to as cyberpunk. In the 90s, a Russian science fiction and fantasy writer, Sergei Lukyanenko, created the world of Deep Town in a series of books where he presented his vision of the virtual world of the near future. In Lukyanenko's plot, Deep Town was created as a huge virtual international megacity to which people could connect from their computers. To achieve the full sensation of realism during the connection to Deep Town, a special program made the brain believe that what it saw on the screen was reality. Deep Town gave people the opportunity to live a brighter and more interesting life. Furthermore, the person received the impression that she has lived not once but many extraordinary lives, while the real world certainly could not give that impression. Lukyanenko was actually inspired by real people, his friends, who are programmers, and whom he describes in his books. One of the prototypes of the characters was Sergei Kuznetsov, the computer magician in the book, who lives in Canada now. Being an old follower of the idea of Deep Town, he has been closely examining the improvement of computer technologies for many years, and thinking of concepts for realization of future Deep Town. Enthusiasts of the virtual world described by Lukyanenko began to find each other in the end of 2002. Sergei Kuznetsov was also a part of that group and, being one of the co-authors of Deep Town, he has headed the project. Sergei Lukyanenko has contributed to the group as well, hoping to make his creation real. Unfortunately, though a lot of work went into that project, the project was doomed to get closed without proper financing. In the end, is it possible to make up and realize such a global internet project having only a few programmer enthusiasts and a book by Lukyanenko at your disposal?